probably even this session, where they get that number from, because it's not like pulling numbers out of the air, but this is where that number comes from. So we have 70 people down in Egypt. Joseph is second in command to Pharaoh, and then the population continues to grow. God blesses the people, and they're living literally in some of the choicest land of all of Egypt. And so that begins making some ill will between the Egyptians and the Jews. Well, why do they have all the best land, kind of thing? And so this population grows and grows and grows, 3 to 5 million people. Pharaoh begins to question, well, if we go to war with Canaan, who are they going to fight with? Because that's their home. That's where they came from. And so he was really threatened, so he began to put them under bondage. And it was a very, very severe, harsh bondage. And he forced them into slavery. Then he began to really get concerned, and he began to practice genocide, which is the purposeful killing of the people. And so he was purposefully killing all the boys that were being born. But one of the boys survived by the name of Moses, and he literally grows up. Pharaoh's daughter sees him floating in a basket in the Nile River, fishes him out of the Nile River, and she probably goes, "Oh, look how cute he is," So then she brings him into her family and literally raises him as her son, and so he's raised in Pharaoh's household. So nothing is spared for this young man. He has the best education, the best military training, the best vocational training. He's got everything. And yet, over a number of circumstances, he commits a murder to help protect some other Jewish people that had been fighting, and eventually flees. Now, when he flees, he leaves Egypt and he comes east, and God meets with him, and you've probably heard the story of the burning bush. In fact, there are burning bushes. We have burning bushes in our house that they get their name because they turn red. And they get their name from this story where God meets with Moses in the burning bush, and he says, "I've heard the cries of my people. They're crying for a redeemer. And you know what? I've chosen you." And Moses said, "You got the wrong guy." He begins to make all these excuses. "I can't speak. Who am I?" But God says, "No, I've chosen you. I've prepared you to go." And then he says, Pharaoh's not going to listen, so I'm going to give you 10 audiovisual aids to help Pharaoh. Today we call those plagues. And each plague was targeted at an Egyptian god. One of their deities, these plagues were targeted at. And so Moses goes back. God brings Moses' brother Aaron to be the main mouthpiece. And their main job was to tell Pharaoh, "Let my people go." Time after time after, "Let my people go." "No, let my people go." "No." And so it ratchets up with the plagues. They've got frogs, and they've got blood, and they've got darkness. And so all of a sudden, they get up to this 10th plague, which is the most severe, and it was the death of the firstborn. Now, the firstborn from Pharaoh to the firstborn in his servants' houses. So everybody, the firstborn of the cattle, were going to be killed. All the firstborn were going to be killed. But God tells the Jews, if you take the blood of an unblemished lamb and put it on your doorposts, then my destroying angel, as he comes and he sees the blood on the door, if this was the door and he sees the blood on the doorpost, that my destroying angel will come and pass over that house. And that's literally how the Jews got the name of their one of their most holy days is Passover. But that's the story of it. The Jews and even Pharaoh, they would say, "Hey, the firstborn are going to be killed. Those who believe me, those who put the blood of a lamb on the doorposts, if you're in the house, when the destroying angel comes, he will pass over that house." So the Jews could be saved, and even believing Egyptians could be saved. You know, if they were obedient to God and believed what was being said, the angel would pass over. Well, so that night comes, and the Jews are ready for a rapid expulsion, basically, from Egypt. And sure enough, the firstborn in Pharaoh's house, all the way down to the firstborn in his servant's house, firstborn of cattle, they all die that same day. And that breaks Pharaoh's heart. And that his heart was so hard against the Lord, and it broke his heart. So now he says, "You guys leave, go." You know, and so that's how the migration began to happen. And so let's go back to the beginning. And what do we have to do? You don't have to stand this time, but clap.